You know that feeling, that kind of creeping sense of overwhelm when you look at the state of the world? Like things are just unraveling way too fast? Well, today we're going to dive into the framework of this really unique course. It's not about finding some magic bullet solution. Nope, it's about building the tools we need to navigate these exact feelings. So let's get into it. This is basically a guide for building resilience when it feels like everything's coming apart at the seams.
All right, so first things first. The course really sets the stage. And let me tell you, it does not sugarcoat the scale of the challenge we're all facing. Instead, it gives it a name and, this is the important part, a specific definition that pretty much changes everything.
So the course calls this the Great Unraveling. And we're not talking about abstract numbers or charts here. No, this is about that gut-wrenching feeling you get when you see our coral reefs bleaching, or forests burning, or just how polarized our societies have become. It's that deep-down feeling that the very systems we all depend on are, well, they're fraying at the edges.
And this is where things get really interesting. The course introduces a totally paradigm-shifting idea. It says, hey, this great unraveling, it's not a problem to be solved. It's a predicament. Now, that might sound like just words, but it's a huge distinction. Think about it. A problem implies there's a solution out there, right? Some silver bullet we just haven't found yet. But a predicament, well, that's a complex reality you have to learn to navigate. Just that simple change in language completely shifts our whole approach. We move away from this desperate search for a quick fix and more toward a sustainable path of just responding and adapting.
Okay, so if we can't solve the predicament, then what can we do, right? Well, the course answers that by offering a structured framework. It's like a guided journey to help us forge the personal and community tools that we're all going to need for the road ahead.
And this whole journey is broken down into 9 sessions. So right off the bat, you know this isn't some quick fix. It's a deliberate, paced exploration. The structure itself is designed to give people the time and space to really grapple with these deep and, let's be honest, often challenging topics, and to do it together, building a real sense of community along the way.
And you can really see that emphasis on community right here. Just look at the flow of a session. It's not a top-down lecture, not at all. You've got participant openers, small breakout groups, larger discussions. The whole thing is engineered to foster connection and shared understanding. It's really about creating wisdom together, not just having it handed to you.
So, we've got this structured, community-focused journey. But what are the actual tools we're building here? Well, the course really centers on developing 2 types of resilience. They're distinct, but as you'll see, they are deeply, deeply connected. So on one side, you've got inner resilience. This is all the internal work, right? It's about strengthening your own psychological and emotional foundation so you can face reality even when it's painful without just shutting down or falling into despair. Then, on the other side, there's outer resilience. And this is how that inner strength actually shows up in the world, through your actions, your behaviors, your relationships. The really crucial point here is that one flows from the other. Meaningful outer action comes from that solid inner foundation.
A good way to think about inner resilience is it's like the quiet, steady work of tending to your own flame. You're building an internal anger that can hold you steady even when the storm is absolutely raging outside.
And it's that strong inner foundation that allows your outer resilience to really flourish. This is where you get into practical, meaningful action. Maybe it's building local food systems, or maybe it's just strengthening the bonds in your community. And here's a key insight. These actions aren't necessarily about stopping the big unraveling on a global scale. It's more about actively creating pockets of the world we want to live in, right here, right now.
Okay, now all of this work on resilience, both inner and outer, it rests on a single foundation. And it's a foundation that can be, well, pretty challenging, and it's often misunderstood. We're talking about the idea of acceptance. But in this course, acceptance isn't some passive endpoint. No, it's the essential starting line for any meaningful action.
But wait a minute, acceptance? Doesn't that just mean giving up? It's a fair question, right? When we hear that word in the face of a crisis, it's so easy to think it just means resignation or apathy. And the course totally gets that. It anticipates this exact skepticism and addresses it head-on.
And here is the key reframe, and this is pulled directly from the course's guiding principles. It says, acceptance is not the same thing as resignation or giving up. Acceptance is the foundation for living and engaging fully in reality. See, it isn't about passively letting things happen. It's about clearly seeing the reality of the predicament. And why is that so powerful? Because it lets you engage from a place of clarity and strength, instead of from, those reactive states of denial or panic, which usually don't get us anywhere. It's like finding the firm ground to stand on before you decide which way to walk.
The Course also makes it really clear that getting to this kind of acceptance, it's an emotional journey, not a logical one. It is not a straight line. I mean, you can see it right here. The reality of this process is usually that messy, tangled path of grief on the right, not the neat step-by-step progression we might hope for. And the Course is all about creating a space to navigate that messiness without any judgment.
So, okay, we've faced the predicament. We've started building our resilience. We've wrestled with what acceptance really means. So, where does all that leave us? Well, it brings us to the central, driving question of the entire course.
Ultimately, the goal here is to move from that feeling of being totally overwhelmed to a place of empowered clarity. The course objectives you see listed here, they're all just stepping stones. They're all leading to that final vital point, getting a clearer understanding of what is mine to do. It's all about personalizing this journey and finding your unique, meaningful contribution. I love how the final session is described. It's called Tying the Strands Together, Weaving a New Fabric. At this point, it's less about getting new information and much more about introspection. It's like this weaver. Participants are guided to take all the different threads from the past 8 weeks, the grief, the new insights, the resilience they've built, and weave them all together into their own personal tapestry of purpose.
And so this whole framework really leaves us with that same question. And look, it is not a question with an easy answer. But according to this course, it might just be the most important question we can be asking ourselves right now. So, in a time of unraveling, what is yours to do?